honest.
Oh, that's fantastic.
To restore some faith after a tumultuous or traumatic week for the footy club.
Incredible sport is football, and incredible game, incredible 10 minutes, incredible 1 minute before the final siren, incredible 5 minutes after. I'm not afraid to say this, Jared. I nearly cried on Saturday. I don't know why, but I was so moved by what happened, and watching these players who have just been beaten down by everyone, including me, being told that they're terrible, being told that they can't play, being told that the coach couldn't coach. You've got to get rid of him. You let down your coach, and to go out and take on Richmond like they did and make so many mistakes but pick themselves up, get off the ground and go again and go again and go again. About 1,000 times they went again, and to win it and to see the crowd and officials. And I'd spoken to Sonia Hood, the president, and she'd been under... It was an anxious week for her. That was the most exhilarating 10 minutes I was just talking about I've seen in football this year.
Okay.
By a long way. That it moved me so much.
Yep.
It was extraordinary. I mean, what was your feeling?
The story arc was going one of two ways, wasn't it? I got home for the last 5 minutes of the second quarter, having called one of the afternoon games, and watched them put the last two goals on. Okay. So you sort of could forecast what was going to happen after half-time, the correction that Richmond would make. And then when they got headed, you go, there's either one heroic moment or this is just the cruelest of twists at the end. Zurhaar provides the heroic moment.
Todd Goldstein provided it before them to get it to him.
Go on. Because I'm going to move us on to the other side of the coin.
No, we're going to just talk about North Melbourne for a second. So when people talk about the North Melbourne list, they need a priority pick, etc., etc., they had been weighed down by football, this group. It just been weighed down. And the change of coach, which always happens, the weight's lifted. So they play with a lot of instinct, and that's what they did. And what we do, we saw players like Simpkin and Ben Mackay. Extraordinary stat that he hadn't won in front of a crowd. Young Flynn Perez from Bendigo. 15 games without a win. But there's a guy there called LDU, right? We've spoken about him a couple of times this year. He has got the ability, Jared, to be a top 10, top 5 midfielder in the comp. He can be, if things play out okay, he can be the next Christian Petrarca. He sidesteps as best of anyone since Robert Harvey. Right. But he does it a bit quicker than Robert Harvey, but he doesn't sidestep as quick as Chris Judd did it or Gary Ablett. You watch him, mate, he's a dancer. He dances around the ground. It's a skill in footy, I would say, that 10 people... Nick Nakos has got it. They've got a skill that makes them dance. It's an incredible skill to have. God, he's a good player.
I flicked the telly on just in time to see the Simpkin run and thought, oh, we're into something here. But it did take an aid and a bet from Richmond. Is the old Will Anderson syndrome Richmondy is back with great cost.
What was Richmondy?
Richmondy was finding perplexing and unique ways to steal defeat from the jaws of victory, which got solved through 3 premierships in 4 years. But it has reoccurred. How costly? This is how costly, Robbo. If you ran the measure of expected scores, Richmond have left 4 games on the table that their system will say that they had in their grasp that they have lost. And that's to say nothing of leading the Swans by 31, St Kilda by 25 and Carlton by 20 in losses. If Richmond bank their 4 wins on expected scores, they're equal top, and they've had 3 others they've copped up from big margins in front.
The beauty of football.
So this is now a syndrome.
Yes.
This is not just an occasional occurrence.
No, it's a
this
trend.
is part of Richmond's 2022 makeup.
It's funny, Jared. We have so much numbers, and I use numbers in football, but this sport is so great. But it's just not about numbers. It's just not. Because it's about numbers. Everyone's robotic. They have had moments, Richmond, and they've had moments in the last 4 years. They do this with their eyes closed. It's changed, Jared. The atmosphere and environment around Richmond has changed. They're not getting it done at the death when they have for 3-4 years. That's
and again,
a big
the
change.
study of the last couple of minutes, isn't it?
Yeah,
There's singular moments that could have determined the game. So I imagine
look at that.
Yeah,
So Dylan Grimes got lost.
There's a world of hurt for players in the review there.
So you got Dylan Grimes. I mean, he's a champion of the game, Dylan Grimes. So you got that mistake. You got that drop mark. So there's all ages, you know. And then we'll have out of bounds. My God, this was unbelievable. It really,
this is when the frenzy infects the game.
The frenzy of football, Jared, made sane people not think correctly. So people say, would you like to be a coach? Oh, coaching would be great, but in moments like this, look at that kick. What did he play on?
But every catastrophe needs a signature moment.
And this is it.
Last week it was Castagna, and this week it's Smart Arts.
Oh, yeah, Smart Arts, eh? What? He didn't know he was there. See, unfortunately for him, he saw his opponent fall to the ground and he goes, oh, I've got this. But he didn't rely on the other Kangaroos player to be there to tackle him. He didn't. That's talking about for about 1,000 times getting up. They got up one more time to put pressure on that guy who thought it wasn't there. It was such a magical game. I can't...
Only on one side of it.
Yeah, but that's
Only
okay.
on one side of it.
You know, for a team that's been kicked to death all year, Jared, they're allowed to have their magic
of course they are.
Monday night with us. I could talk about that game for the next hour.
All right.